Hey guys, what's up? It's Finch here. Today we're going to be doing another video on the format where we only use one Pokemon instead of six because my brain is small and I cannot process all six anymore due to my becoming a boomer. That aside though, it's going to be week 6 of 1v1 Premier League. I am here with a 4-1 record against Bea, who also is a pretty solid 1v1 player. I really was looking forward to playing Bea, and I knew that I was going to have my hands full this week, so I got some help from my teammates in the building department. I want to give a big shout out to all of them, including Potato Chan or Poppy Chan, who has a video with 1.8 million views on YouTube, which is larger than my entire channel, and I didn't know this for the last month despite being his teammate, so I just want to say a big screen. No, I'm kidding. Congratulations on your success, my man. But anyway, right off the bat, there were some cool ideas I wanted to exploit this week, mainly because I was getting more comfortable with the tier, and my teammates were able to help integrate those into actual usable teams instead of complete mismatches, if you will. The first idea I had that my teammates were able to make work, thank goodness, was using Genesect twice. So for those of you that didn't know, in Oras 1v1, which is the tier that we're playing, the tier I've made videos for every week for the last month or so, there's no species clause. So if I want to bring 2 or 3 of the same Pokemon with different sets, or even the same set, which would make absolutely no sense, but sure, why the hell not, then I could do so. While I cannot use the item focus sash, which I did mistakenly talk about last video, and I want to apologize for, before I get memed by the entire 1v1 community again, no focus sash. You can use the same Pokemon twice, and that makes a lot of sense in my opinion, given the versatility of some Pokemon, and the fact it's a 1v1, not a 6v6. So I wanted to bring 2 Genesect because I thought it was a really versatile Pokemon. There was a number of different sets it could use, be it Specs, Scarf, Sub, 3 attacks, 4 attacks, whatever it might be, just not Focus Sash. But I also knew that there were an abundance of fire types in the tier, and unfortunately, Genesect's going to struggle against pretty much all of those. Zard Y, Zard X, Heatran, even Mega Camerupt, which we actually ran into here, which is funny because neither of my Genesect could touch this thing, period. And on top of that, Zapdos was not something I wanted to do with Genesect either, because Zapdos can one-shot me with Specs Heat Wave, and it's going to be living anything beyond a download boosted Choice Specs Ice Beam in all likelihood, and even then it might be quicker than it given a 1 base higher speed. Finally, Altaria was something I was a bit less worried about with Genesect, but if it ran a Fire move, which is very, very uncommon on it, we don't see much Scizor or Ferrothorn in the tier. If that was to be the case, then you would have to be careful, but that level of being careful wasn't something I really was considering this matchup, so I went into it saying, okay, if I load a Genesect with Ice Beam, I have a slim chance of beating Zapdos. I should beat Altaria, and I'm going to lose to the Camerupt always. Whereas if I load Altaria, I'll beat Camerupt always. I have decent odds of beating Zapdos given my set, which I don't think I've got a fully reveal because it didn't come into play in the game if I did use it, or maybe I didn't use it. We'll have to wait and see. And Altaria on Altaria action, I mean, look, it's a coin flip. I could be Cotton Guard or Dragon Dance, both give me outs, but he could also be quicker or stronger or whatever it may be that gives him outs. Hyper Voice is also a viable option, which could bypass any defense boosting or anything along those lines and always be a surefire to a KO. So yeah, you got to be careful there. But I was thinking, Genesect times 2 would make a lot of sense to Camerupt into, but Camerupt loses to Altaria always. So I was actually thinking that he was going to go Zapdos, and Specs would have a chance against all 3 of mine depending on the sets. But then I was like, okay. So Bea's going to expect me to expect Zapdos. So therefore, what would Bea do? What would they do given that information? And I thought that they would expect me to go with Altaria because Heat Wave's going to smother my Genesect, and he might be... I don't know if Bea is a guy or a girl, and I don't want to misgender, so I'm just going to say they. I'm sorry I didn't do the research on that going into that narration. I don't want to do anything rude or insensitive though. But anyway, I thought that they would expect me to bring Altaria because of that. So I'm thinking, okay, if they expect me to use Altaria, then what are they going to use? And I'm thinking, nothing really has a clear-cut shot of beating every single Altaria set. So now I'm wondering if Bea is going to kind of bank on me not bringing Altaria, and if I bring it, just accept the loss, because it's game 1 of the set, and taking a risk when my strategy is clearly Genesect oriented would make sense, And then I was like, no, that doesn't make much sense. But then I'm like, I'm going in circles here, and my gut says Altaria. And I really think I'm going to face Camerupt through Zapdos. And I didn't like my Altaria set into the Altaria mirror, truth be told. But I liked it into the Zapdos enough to where I knew I had okay odds. And I knew I'd win against Camerupt. So I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to think this all day long. I'm just going to bring Altaria here. And lo and behold, I got Altaria. The Camerupt. Earthquakes rolled to a KO, but Bea's Camerupt shouldn't be able to 3-hit KO me. Ancient Power did not get a boost, which I don't think any would have regardless, and I got the roll to a KO. So that was all fine and well. We're up 1-0. Now, going into game 2, I was actually using a team that had Assault Vest, Rhyperior, but my Rhyperior, while it was able to live the standard Zard-Y Solar Beam, it was not able to eat a modest Solar Beam from Zard-Y. The idea being that a lot of them either run plus speed or they run HP EVs for a number of things there. As Blast Burn under Sun gets KOs regardless. So it was kind of a risky spread to run, but it made a lot of sense given what we may have anticipated. But little did I know, opposing Rhyperior oftentimes actually run just max special defense plus. So me being a modest Charizard Mega Y with Solar Beam, thinking it's more likely than not almost always going to kill my Rhyperior, probably it's the same against them. In addition to that, I have Air Slash plus Blast Burn, so therefore even a sub-stalling Whimsicott can't beat me unless I miss an Air Slash, and Mawile is always going to lose to me unless it dodges Blast Burn on turn 1 and then follows that up by being Thunder Punch, which I didn't expect to be particularly common. So I actually thought for once in my life I had a matchup where I won 3-0, and I could be Zard X, which is going to bait in Rhyperior. And given my other team's match against Rhyperior, which my own Rhyperior is slower than opposing Rhyperiors almost always, it has 0 speed or something like that, so something like that. And my Mawile, which it could Metal Burst on Earthquake, but there's Mind Games and whatnot, plus the fact that it would lose to the other two in all likelihood. But also, it wasn't really favored to beat Rhyperior to begin with. So yeah, I kind of felt like those Pokemon were always losing, whereas I felt my Zard was going to be able to win the game against all three. So I loaded up Zard, I went for the Solar Beam on turn 1, and lo and behold, I don't know if I didn't get a roll, I got them in roll, or they were max special defense plus, or something close to that, but I just barely missed, and Rock Blast, needless to say, was able to take me out. So I'm in a 1-1 game now, and I'm kind of unhappy because I thought that was interaction I always win. Otherwise, I might have played differently or even asked to use a different team. I don't know, but it's just like I went into it. I saw the match. I'm like, okay, good. Nothing bad is gonna happen here, and then something bad happens. And it's just like, damn it, it's a little unsettling. But it's okay. It's just like when you're playing 1v1, you can't really tilt because it's just you can't get out of the mindset. You gotta expect everything. You gotta stay open-minded, and there, I think I did the best pick to maximize my odds overall. I was pretty happy despite the loss, if you will, and my opponent prepared well for that possibility, even the Modizard, and got away with a win. So good for them. Game 3 here. Now I'm like, okay, so I wanted to use Specs Clefable, and then I ran into 3 Pokemon that all completely annihilated it. Specs Porygon Z would obliterate it. Any Victini just good night, and Greninja's sub Hydro Cannon sets would be problematic to say the least, with Pataya Berry and Torrent, and Hydro Cannon just goes kaboom and then you die. So I rolled that into a matchup where it lost all 3. That wasn't good. That was not good at all. Now they didn't know I was Specs. Specs is very common, but I knew that, and I knew I'm never bringing Clefable. I'm trying to think, okay, is there any way a normal Clef set would beat any of these? And it has a chance against some utility Victinis, but not banded really unless I counter outright. But I guess I kind of could bluff that into leveraging them into expecting a Victini or a Greninja. But it was kind of hard. I looked at Heatran. Heatran should beat most, not all, most Victini, depending if they've got Brick Break or not, and if they're faster or not, and all that jazz. It should beat the Porygon Z, but it's gonna always lose to Greninja. So I'm like, you know what? Greninja's always beating 2 of my Pokemon, and my Karen Black has good odds to beat Victini if it's not banded out of it. Good odds to beat Greninja because it outruns and kills it, so that's always a win. And against Porygon Z, it loses to Specs because it doesn't crit Outrage, but otherwise it should win. I'm just like, you know what? I think that I'm going to be okay bringing Karen Black. It makes the most sense to me. I really didn't expect to see Porygon V into the Heatran. So, lo and behold, I predicted them for the Heatran and bring Greninja, and that happened. My Scarf Kyurem was able to take care of business, making it a 2-1 series in my favor. Keep in mind at this point, it's a best of 5, so there's still more games left. In fact, this game was absolutely vital, as if I win, the series is over, whereas if I lose, it goes to game 5 to decide the entirety of the set. So I rolled up with Aegislash, Mega Gardevoir, Mega Sableye. They rolled up with Medicham, which looks completely useless. It should lose to all 3 Pokemon on my team, which I am pleasantly surprised about for once in my life. But unfortunately, the bleeding begins there. There's Sylveon, which with Specs should be able to defeat my Sableye for sure. Now Gardevoir is a tough one, but I think that it would have came down to rolls. It really depends. I'm not sure how much my attacks did, so it's hard to say. And it's going to lose to Aegislash because I'm Akaberry Ironhead, and that covers that, needless to say. But last is Volcanion. And now this is where it gets funky. Because if it's not Specs Overheat, then I live Head Smash plus Recoil in all likelihood if it's bulky. But if it's offensive and Specs, then there's a slim chance Head Smash doesn't kill, and Overheat plus Recoil from Head Smash does kill and I lose. That's the lose condition there. But I don't think I'd really love my matchup against it regardless, because Scarf can 2-KO and outrun the Gardevoir, and Specs can really do a lot to Sableye beating that 1v1. I'm looking at the team, I'm like, wow, it's pretty slow. I feel like there needs to be a fast Pokemon. So I kind of was like, you know what, it's probably Scarf Volcanion. So if it's not Overheat or a Fire move, then I can live after Recoil and get a Sneak Off, or maybe even just kill outright because they should run fast, and the roll for that's very much in my favor given my attack investment. So I'm like, you know what, given that Aegislash completely takes Medicham and should beat the Sylveon, coupled with the fact that Volcanion I like my odds against because I'm Akaberry, and I don't think they'll think I'm Akaberry, so they might just tunnel vision into bringing it. I'll go for it. Unfortunately, it Specs Overheat, it does a lot of damage, and after that I died to Head Smash. Honestly, that might not even be Specs damage. I'm not sure, but I died to Head Smash regardless. So, despite having sneaked to take it out, I was not alive to do so, making it a 2-2 game. That one was rough. I'm not sure what the role was. I don't know their HP investments. I'm not going to speak on their behalf, but I kind of felt like I did game 2. I was like, you know, I think I got this in the bag, and then I did not have it anywhere near the bag at all. So that's pretty rough. But finally, we're at game number 5. And game number 5, you see I have a Pokemon in my icon next to me in the battle called Garchomp. And Garchomp happens to be holding a choice band right now with Ironhead, Earthquake, and Outrage, and that covers all 3 Pokemon on my opponent's team. So that left me to a couple things. Is the Empoleon going to be Custap Endure, Psylocke Endure, something like that, to take me out? Is the Togekiss going to be Scarf to flinch me out, or Rhyperior with Counter to just completely devour me? Are they going to tunnel vision that far into the Garchomp matchup, given how problematic it could be? Or are they going to pick something else, given that those sets can potentially be covered? For example, an Ice Fang Mega Gyarados makes a ton of sense for me to bring. Same with the Jirachi if I predict Togekiss. Ultimately, I went with the Chomp though. Chomp's my Mon, and I felt very reliable in it through thinking it through. And because of that, I was rewarded with them predicting me to Jirachi to Togekiss, bringing out the Zard, and getting completely obliterated by a Choice Banded Outrage, giving me a 3-2 win, moving my record to 5-1, and continuing my team's victory for that week. That was overall a very fun series. I quite liked it. It came down to the wire, and there were a lot of close calls, so I'm glad that was the case, and I hope you guys all enjoyed. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more, and thank you so much for watching, guys. Have a great, splendid week. Okay, bye.